Now in 1926, a young Jew by the name of Lyeopold Weiss, as a reporter for a German newspaper called Frankfurter Zeitung, he visits Jerusalem, and he's a Jew. So the Jews were having a meeting with Weizmann from England. He is really the father of this Jewish state, Israel, Weizmann. So in the meeting, they had a plan on the big table, and they were marking out what we're going to do, and we'll take this away, and we'll take that. Among the Jews, they're planning, scheming. Ben Gurion was there. All these are young people, planning, scheming. Maybe Begin was also there. So this young Jew, he had a conscience. So he says, while this discussion is being carried on, he said, I'm reading from his book, he said, I had the disturbing impression that even he, who Weizmann, like most of the other Zionists, was inclined to transfer the moral responsibility for all that was happening in Palestine to the outside world. The moral, for all the trouble that was brewing, they say, British is responsible, the Germans are responsible, but not themselves. They are immaculate, masoom, sinless people. This impelled me to break through the deferential hush with which all the other people present were listening to him. They were awed. Weizmann talking, nobody did interject. And to ask, he says, and to ask, he asked, and what about the Arabs? So look, the way you are carving out this country, this was in 1926. So look, you're going to take this like that, and you'll take that like that, and we'll take this Gaza Strip here, and we'll take this Jordan here like that. He said, look, what about the Arabs? So this our reporter says, Lyeopold Weiss, Austrian-German Jew, he said, I must have committed a faux pas, a false step, something that I shouldn't have, something out of turn, by thus bringing a jarring note into the conversation. For Dr. Weizmann turned his face slowly toward me, put down the cup he had been holding in his hand, and repeated my question. What about the Arabs? What about them? So what about them? What about the Arabs? Well, this young man bleats. Well, how can you hope to make Palestine your homeland in the face of the vehement opposition of the Arabs, who, after all, are in a majority in this country? They are in a majority in this country, in Palestine. So the Zionist leader shrugged his shoulders and answered dryly. He said, we expect they won't be in a majority after a few years. We expect they won't be in a majority for very long. Perhaps so, this young man says. You have been dealing with this problem for years and must know the situation better than I do. But, quite apart from the political difficulties, which Arab opposition may or may not put in your way, does not the moral aspect of the question ever bother you? The moral aspect, robbing somebody else's property, somebody else's land, somebody else's home, does that not bother you? Don't you think that it is wrong on your part to displace the people who have always lived in this country? But it is our country, replied Dr. Weizmann, raising his eyebrows. This is our country. We are doing no more than taking back what we have been wrongly deprived of. This is the mentality. This is our country, and we have been deprived of rightfully what belonged to us. We have been wrongfully deprived. By who and when? Raises the question. When and who?